Now it's time for Perform Like a Pro.
Hey guys, today we're going to take this very unusable space and make it into a linen closet so I have some storage. I got my dimensions right here. Now it's time to cut some plywood and make some sawdust. All right, so these shelves, that whole opening inside is 54 inches and I'm going 21 inches deep, so I got a little bit of space between the door and the shelf itself. Plus I'm going to add a 1x2 across the front to give it extra strength. So now I'm going to cut this to length at the 54 inches before I cut this down. Might as well make these cuts now because it gives me easier cuts to make with smaller pieces, and then I have a bigger piece at the end to make into more pieces to hold up those shelves. So now we're going to go 54 inches here. All right, I cut off this little 6-inch piece, so that gets me 2 of my shelf depths right here. This, why throw it away when I can reuse it? These are gonna be the cleats that hold up the shelf. So I'm gonna rip this into 2 pieces. That's gonna be a lot of material to make cleats out of. And we're using all the plywood, which I like. All right, now here's the thing. I could have made this really simple and cut all the way across and made that first big cut. But I wouldn't have had these long pieces that I can use across the back of the closet there, because that's 54 inches. They would have been limited to 48. So this is getting me the best yield out of my plywood. All right, these I'm gonna cut to length. These are the shelf supports here. So what we're gonna do is make these the same depth, really is what that is. But I wanna do is, they're gonna be a 1/2 inch short since this is 1/2 inch plywood. So instead of being 21, I'm gonna make them 21.5 so that back piece can go wall to wall. All right, lumber's cut. Time to mark out and find our locations for each one of these shelves. Now I'm gonna install the bracing, and that's what's gonna hold up the bottom of these shelves so they don't collapse. Our first thing is to find the studs here so we know where to fasten to them so they don't fall down. Let's do it. So now I got one right in here. So I don't have to keep looking for it. It'll be the same all the way up. I know that that's 12.5 inches in. I'm gonna have to paint this anyway, so I'm just gonna write this down so I don't forget it later. I like getting a good stud finder, and some of the tricks to this is that you put it onto the right setting, of course. If you've got thicker drywall or plaster, you wanna get a better stud finder. But we know that they're always in the corner, so I come in before that so it can scan. And then I just keep coming across here, and on this one I keep looking for where we get into where the studs are. That'll tell me it's there, but I always kind of come back and just make sure that I've confirmed that. Then I'll mark it. Now one thing, if you've got pipes in that wall or something else, it could read like a stud. So that could be another problem. Be very careful where you're putting these. It could lead to much bigger water issues. All right, next step is to put these braces up. Let's start marking them out. This one here, because I have some stuff I want to put down below, I want my finish to be at 20, but really I'm gonna, because I have a 1/2 inch plywood, the braces need to now be at 19.5. So what I'm gonna do here is grab one of these. Come in here at 19.5 like this, get that centered in here. Grab my level, get that where I want it, just like that. I'm gonna verify my height with my mark to make sure, see that moved a little bit, so I want to get it right there. Get the level on that. Just raise up just like that. We're good, and I'm gonna grab my nail gun and let's set a nail in here. All right, those are all nice and level and secured. It's time to drop some shelves in. Once we get that, we'll put a nosing on it so it makes them extra strong in the front. And once these are in here, I will nail them down. All right, so I've been using this nail gun right here, and to be honest, you don't have to use that. You don't have to go out and get one of these. If you've got just finish nails and a hammer or a screw gun, no matter what you're doing, as long as you're fastening to the studs and fastening this shelf down to the pieces down below that are your brackets, you're good to go. You don't have to get crazy on the tools. Next step is for me to cut some nosing on this, which will make this really stiff on the front and give us that strength we're looking for so I can stack all the towels I need. Don't need the level for this because I'm just trying to flush the top out. And then we're going to sink these nails in. Do it on each side and then fill it in between. All right, now that's ready for some sanding, some caulking, some priming, and some painting. But first, we're gonna put up these doors and get those test fit, because they're gonna have to come down to be finished as well. Let me go get those. All right, we've got some just standard Luan bifold patio doors, about as inexpensive as you can get. They match my house though, so that's why I'm using them. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put these little pins in the end here, and that's the important part because that's what holds it in the pin on the track so it pivots. So on the top side, I'm gonna slide this in here. That's how we get that in the top. On this side will be the little roller. It's all plastic, so you kind of want to be a little gentle with it so you don't hurt anything. And on the bottom here, which is on this side, on the inside panel, we're going to put the adjustable pin right here. So we've got that. Now we'll set that to the side. We're going to start putting this upper track on. First one in. There's one. There's two. These back corner screws are the most important because they take the most stress. All right, the secret to these bifold doors is that we have the pins in the corner, which are the pivot, and then it rides a course on this roller track across the top. So the bottom pin is fixed, so let me adjust that real quick. Make sure that needs to come all the way down. I'm using all this, so this just adjusts down just like that. I'm gonna start it all the way in because it's a pretty tight setup here. And so now this is where we have to juggle it through. I have to get the bottom in and then get these top in at the same time. So I'm gonna come in here first and get that bottom pivot set. So that's it right there. So now I get the top roller, and then I have to bring this, push this top piece in, and then it snaps in right there. That snaps in there. All right, a few $100 and a couple hours, I have a perfectly working linen closet now. This is something you can tackle yourself.